What is up, YouTube? We are back with another vlog. Now, before I continue to yap, I just realized my past few vlogs, I haven't introduced myself, and I've had a few new subscribers and a few new people just watching my vlogs, and I'm like, you guys are probably like, girl, who are you? So hello, hi, my name is Mariah. I am a bodybuilder, bikini competitor, and I initially created this little YouTube channel to document my bodybuilding journey, which I'm continuing to do. But let's now get into this vlog. So my last few vlogs have just been like days in the life, full day of eating, which I love because we just go with the flow and we kind of just throw everything together. And I've been loving that, but I do want to change things up. So in today's vlog, we're actually going to be talking about a topic, and the topic is going to be things I wish I knew before I started my bodybuilding prep, my bodybuilding journey, my first prep. So that is going to be the topic for today. I actually have my laptop with my notes, and I have all of my main points that I want to cover and just some notes along with that. So one, I don't get off track, but also two, so that I don't miss anything, because there are a few things that I think are going to be very helpful. Now, if I miss anything, because I'm sure I'm going to miss something, please feel more than welcome to leave whatever you think a first-time competitor should know prior to hopping into a prep, because I really do think this is going to be helpful. And honestly, when I first started my first bodybuilding prep, I should have watched something like this. Although I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I did and what I found was helpful for me and something that I still continue to do. But let's get right into it. So point number one is going to be becoming a student of the sport. Now, this is going to be super, super important, because you don't want to just hop into anything really blind, not knowing what to expect, but specifically for prep, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. And I've seen a lot of people just hop into a show and then 6 weeks in, 4 weeks in, whatever it may be, they're like, oh my gosh, this is really hard. I can't do this anymore. Because yes, prep is very hard and it's very uncomfortable, and you really do need to know what you're getting yourself into, because again, it is a lot. So one thing that I actually did for myself, and why I love this platform so much, is because I get to share my journey. And this is actually something that I used to do, and what I still continue to do is I love to watch other competitors' vlogs, and that's something that I did just to kind of get a behind the scene look of what to expect. Now, obviously, keep in mind, take anything you see online with a grain of salt. Also keep in mind, if you're watching someone's vlogs, if you're watching my vlogs, this is my experience, right? I'm showing you what I'm going through, how I respond to things, how I react to things. And it's really important to just take everything that you see on social media with a grain of salt, because we're all on different paths. We all experience things differently. But that's something that I would recommend, is have some fun, watch some vlogs, see the, again, just like the behind the scenes of prep. Now, there are a lot of like show day vlogs, and obviously watch those, see what show day is like, especially if you're closer to the end of your prep. I think that's a really good idea. Going to a show, I'm gonna go on a whole tangent, but I do think it's a good idea to watch show day vlogs and see all the excitement. But I do think that with social media, and I think bodybuilding is becoming a lot more popular, which is fantastic. I think a lot more like fitness influencers are doing shows, which majority of these fitness influencers, they have a huge following. So it's just, bodybuilding is just getting out there, which is really exciting in my opinion. However, with social media, and obviously not just with bodybuilding, but with social media in general, it's a highlight reel. So you're gonna see the shreds, and you're gonna see show day, and the glam, and the hair, and this and that. And that can all be very exciting, but that is not prep. That is one day out of the 20, 24, 16, 18, however many weeks your prep is, that is one day out of that 20 weeks. Right? So that's not showing the full picture. And that's why I always recommend, when you are watching vlogs, there's a lot of vlogs that are like 10 weeks out until my show, 12 weeks out until my show, 4 weeks out, whatever. Watch those vlogs, because hopefully those vlogs are going to give you a better idea of what to expect in prep, right? So that's something that I would recommend, is watching vlogs. I think it's also cool to follow your favorite competitors. So some of my favorite competitors are the GOAT, Lauralee Chapados. She posts a lot on her social media. I also do feel like she's a very real and genuine. She posts like real, genuine, and raw just content of prep, obviously the show day, but like the whole thing. And I think that's very helpful for first-time competitors, because she's not just showing the glamorous side of things. She shares a lot. So that's one competitor, Lauralee Chapados. There's Jennifer Dory, Emil Delgado. These are obviously like top bikini pro Olympians, the best of the best. But I really do think that they're good competitors to follow, because they do share a lot of their journey, and it is very helpful. Follow these pros, watch their vlogs, but do not compare yourself, because they were once where you were, but it took them a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication, sacrifice to get them to where they are today. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 12. But I do think it's good to kind of just get, like, again, that behind the scenes look of a competitor. And there's also a bunch of other NPC amateur competitors that post a lot of vlogs too, myself included. And I think it's nicer to watch those vlogs, because you're almost closer to where they're at. But again, you have to take everything that you see on social media with a grain of salt, and just don't compare yourself, because we're all on different unique journeys and paths. All right, now this is something that's really important to me, because if you don't know, I have very big goals within this sport. I want to get my pro card. I want to eventually compete as a professional bikini competitor. And with all of that being said, you have to envision the competitor you want to become. If you want to become a pro, envision that. Dream big, baby. Honestly, block out all of the noise. If this and that and whoever is telling you can't do it, or you're crazy or whatever, who cares? Respectfully, not even respectfully, who cares what they think? If you have big goals for yourself, I don't care how big they are, I don't care how crazy they are. This is very cliche, but as long as you believe in yourself, that is all that matters. Your mind is such a powerful thing, and this is why I preach it all the time. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and if you are mentally strong, let me tell you, the world is your oyster, and you can achieve anything that you want. Again, it can be as crazy and impossible as whoever may think that it is, but as long as you believe in yourself, and obviously your work matches that, you will get there and you will achieve your goals. Going back to getting my pro card in mind, I'm in no rush. Doesn't matter how long it's gonna take. I know that I'm going to get it, and that is all that matters. And I think that's really, really important to keep in mind. If you have big goals for yourself, if you wanna win your pro card, and now this might not be for someone who's a first-time competitor, you know, do your first show, see if you enjoy it, and then kind of go from there. But if you're an experienced athlete, or if you're somebody who has a goal of winning your pro card, you need to start acting like a pro. That's something that I do. You know, I want to win my pro card. It's important that I act like a pro. Again, like, I don't mean to sound harsh or anything like that, but if you want to win your pro card, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. You're going to have to train when you don't feel like training. If you're tired and, you know, you don't want to do your cardio, you have big goals, you have to work for them. Nothing is going to be handed to you. You're not just gonna hop on a stage one day and someone's gonna be like, here you go, here's your pro card, you know? Like, things are gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna have to sacrifice some things. You're gonna have to put in the work even when you don't feel like putting in the work. But I really do believe that you have to envision yourself as the competitor that you want to be. And if you want to become a pro, you have to start acting like a pro and doing the things that pros are doing, because eventually you will get there. But I think it's important to start acting like one, even if you're not one yet, if that makes sense. So that's my little bit for that. But the main topic is just like becoming a student of the sport, doing your research, taking your time to learn more about the sport. Don't rush into anything blind. Following pro bikini competitors you admire, but not comparing. Watching show day vlogs, watching posing practice, check-ins, the whole thing. And then even though you're not a pro yet, carry yourself like one. and then again envisioning yourself as the competitor that you want to become. So that's the first little point there. The second one is going to be really important, and it's staying in your own lane. You hear this all the time, but comparison seriously is the thief of joy, and it can be difficult, right? Because you're getting judged on your physique. You're going on stage in a bikini and they're judging your body, and you're on stage with a whole bunch of other bodies. And don't get me wrong, like there has been times in previous seasons where I have compared myself to others, and social media is such a big thing. And again, we're always like, there's a lot of competitors who are sharing their journey, physique updates, and this and that. And this is why I love the bikini division, because although yes, there's a certain criteria that you have to follow, we are all so unique and different, and you really can't compare yourself to others because we are so unique and different. And I think that's something to keep in mind, because again, although yes, there is a specific criteria, we are all built different, baby, and we are all different. And I think that's what makes the bikini division so special, is because you can truly only show up as your best self. And I think that's something very, very important to keep in mind. Staying in your own lane, but understanding that the only person you're trying to improve and the only person you're trying to beat is yourself. Who cares what anybody else is doing? Just stay in your own lane. Don't focus on anybody else. Don't worry about anybody else. Just worry about yourself and focus on your own journey, because honestly, that is all that matters. And that's another reason why I love this sport, is because year after year, season after season, you are constantly just working on improving and becoming better and just showing up again as your best. And I think that's also something to keep in mind too, with going back to social media being a highlight reel. Especially with bodybuilding, I know a bunch of other like really good coaches, even a lot of good coaches on my team, Team Pro Physique. Shout out to you guys rock. They do share a lot about this, and this is such a great reminder. On social media, people are taking pictures in some anabolic lighting. People are editing their photos, whether it's sharpening it, making it more clear, or whatever. Like doing all of the things to their photos, taking their photos in the best lighting. And girl, don't get me wrong, I do the same thing too. After you get like a little shoulder pump and then taking a post-workout selfie because you look phenomenal, absolutely, I'm doing the same too. But I think that's important to keep in mind, is that when you're seeing these photos on social media, sometimes you'll see a competitor, they'll post their physique update on social media, and then you see them on show day and they don't even look like that. So always keep that in mind too. Social media is a highlight reel. You're always gonna see the best of the best on social media. And what really comes down to is who shows up and how you look on stage and on show day. So just keep that in mind too. But yeah, that is going to be point number 2, is just staying in your own lane and try your best not to compare yourself to anybody, because again, at the end of the day, you can only show up as your best self, period. Number 3, and I'm not going to chat too much about this one because I did talk about this in my last vlog, but especially being a first-time competitor, do your research for hiring a coach. Don't just pick a random coach. Joe Schmo from the gym said that he's a bodybuilding coach and he's going to prep you. Just do your research, take your time. A lot of coaches have like social media pages, maybe they have a website. Book a call, have a conversation with this coach. If they're local, meet with them in person. But at the end of the day, just like take your time and do your research before just working with any random coach, because everybody and their grandma now is a bodybuilding prep coach, and this is a very, very big process that you're putting your body through, body and mind. So just take your time and do your research before working with a coach. Make sure their values align with yours. It's important that you're working with a coach who doesn't care just about the results that you get on stage, but who cares about you as a human, okay? Because this is a very hard sport, and it can be very hard mentally, and it's really important that you're working with somebody who cares about you, okay? Just take your time overall to do your research, but again, I do talk about this more in my previous vlog. If you want to know more about that, feel more than welcome to watch that. Shout out to Paul, shout out to Team Pro Physique, little plug. Now, my next little point that I wanted to add to that is not to take advice from everyone. And it's okay to take advice from people, and it's totally okay for people to give you their advice. But if you're questioning it, always make sure that you ask your coach ask, like, if somebody tells you something like, oh, that's weird, I don't think you should be doing that, or you should try to do this, or whatever, like, so many people are going to have different opinions on things. And again, just going back to taking everything with a grain of salt. But if someone gives you their opinion on something, take it with a grain of salt. And maybe if you're confused or if you want further clarification, ask your coach. That's why your coach is there. Alrighty, now the next one is going to be really important. And this is important for you if you want to continue to succeed in this sport, but is to get judges' feedback, and to get judges' feedback immediately after the show. So as soon as you're finished after finals, go to the judges' table. They are there to help you. I have so many good experiences with judges and just them wanting to help me improve and get better. And I think it's really cool because there's a lot of judges. You'll see these judges year after year, and it's exciting because they're seeing you improve and grow, and they want to see you improve and grow. So I know even myself, after show, the adrenaline is running. I am tired, and all I want to do is go to bed. Honestly, go to bed, go eat something, drink some water. I just want to get out of there. But I really do think if you're a competitor who wants to continue to improve and succeed in this sport, take your time. As soon as you're done stepping off stage after finals, of course, the judges are going to stay there for a bit, so you don't feel like you have to run there or sprint there or anything like that. Do take your time to go and ask the judges for their feedback, because at the end of the day, how are you going to know? Okay, I'm going to have to hurry this up because my phone is just playing games. But yeah, at the end of the day, try to go right after finals, talk to the judges. Keep in mind too, a lot of these judges are doing this part-time. They have full-time jobs. They have a whole life that they also have to deal with. It's okay to email the judges, but I do think it's better to go right afterwards because they're gonna have you right in front of them, fresh in their mind. They're gonna have all of their notes and stuff like that ready to go. And again, these judges want to see you improve and succeed, and they're so nice. I've only had great experience with judges, so that's something that I would recommend, is getting judges' feedback right away. Now, the next one that I want to go into, and I might not elaborate too much on these last few ones, is you're not always going to win, but that's not going to define you as an athlete. This sport is hard. You have to have thick skin. Again, you can only show up as your best self. You can show up as your best self. You can work really hard, make a bunch of progress, and this happened to me last season, which I talked about this in a previous vlog as well, but last season did not go as planned, and I thought I improved and I thought I did really well, and I did. But this is a very subjective sport. You don't know who's going to show up on show day. You don't know what the judges are going to be judging that day. And I think that's why it's really important that although results might not go in your favor, that doesn't mean you should give up. And I really do think that that's where you're going to see who's going to succeed in this sport. And those are honestly the best athletes. Despite the results, despite whether they win or whether they lose, they continue to show up and improve. And that's again why I love this sport so much, is because every single season, year after year, season after season, it's just an opportunity to improve and grow, both physically and mentally. So do not let a win or a loss define who you are as a person and an athlete. So that's going to be the next point there. Then you guys already know, but bodybuilding is a very, very big mental game. It is not just physical. Like, you're gonna question yourself at times. You're going to want to give up, but that's when you really have to push through. And some things that I'm gonna recommend is, again, the physical work is just as important, going to the gym, doing your cardio, nutrition, all of that side of things, but don't forget the mental side too. Some things that I really, really love to do is taking some time to journal every single morning, whether it's just 5 minutes. I have the little 5-minute journal, which I love. There's little like prompts and they ask you questions and stuff like that. But what I prefer to do, and this what works for me, is I open my journal and I'm telling you guys, sometimes I'll be like, hey girl, how's it going? And then I'll just like start to write literally anything and everything that is on my mind, especially when I'm having hard times. If I'm doubting myself, I pick up my journal and I take the time to just reflect and just brain dump. So that's something that I would recommend, is taking the time to journal. This is something that I do every single morning that I wake up. I'm going to win my pro card, and I tell myself that every single day. Every single day I wake up in the morning and I tell myself, I repeat it to myself, I'm going to win my pro card. Your mind is such a powerful thing, and do not underlook it. You have to work on your mental game. Just as much as physical is important, you have to work physically, you also have to work mentally too. So always keep that in mind, especially if you have very big goals. If you want to become something, you tell yourself that every single day. You envision that, you embody that, okay? Period. Okay, so then that's that. And what else did I put here? I have motivation fades, habits keep going. Motivation comes and goes, but it's important that, especially when it comes to prep, you have to push through those hard days. And don't feel like a failure if there's days where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Because girl, I have those days too. I had those days. I'm going to have those days. But that's, again, when you really have to sit with yourself and remind yourself why you are doing this. Because if it's important to you, you will continue to push through. And you can do the hard things. We can all do the hard things. But that's when you really have to take the time to remind yourself that. And then what else do I have here? Ooh, I have here, this is an interesting one, but I put prep isn't a weight loss plan. If your goal is to do this just to get shredded, prep probably isn't for you. Put down here, you need to have muscle, you need to have symmetry. It's about your presence, it's about your, it's a whole presentation. It's not just about being shredded. It's not who's the most shredded contest. It's your overall presentation. So just keep that in mind too. But honestly, that's pretty much about it. I think those are the main topics that I wanted to talk about. So again, number one, becoming a student of the sport, taking your time, not rushing into prep blindly, following some pro bikini competitors or just other bikini competitors, whether you're in Canada, the CPA or NPC, just to get an idea of what you're getting yourself into. 2, staying in your own lane, focusing on your own path and your own journey. 3, getting a coach you trust and taking other people's advice with a grain of salt. Getting judges' feedback immediately after the show. Understanding, one thing that I put too, post-show is hard, but it doesn't have to be, and that's why it's important to have a coach who doesn't care about you just when you're in prep, but who also cares for you pre and post-show, because post-show is hard. I don't think I'll get to that'll be a whole other 30-minute video, but just understanding that post-show is hard, but it doesn't have to be, and it's important that you have a plan set up in place with your coach. So just make sure to talk to your coach about post-show. You're not always going to win, but that doesn't define who you are as a person or an athlete. Bodybuilding is a big mental gain. Motivation is going to fade, but it's about it's the habits that are going to keep you going. And then the last one just being prep isn't a weight loss plan. But that is going to be all. I know that was a whole lot of yapping today, but I hope you guys like that. I hope you found that it was a little bit helpful. Again, this is just my experience and what I'm sharing with you guys. If you don't agree with any of my points, or maybe there's something that I missed, that's okay. Maybe comment down anything else you think a first-time competitor should know, again, down in the comments below. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you guys have a great day, a great morning, a great night. Whenever you're watching this, like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Other than that, thank you so much again for watching. Thank you for following along. I hope you guys continue to follow along on this exciting, crazy journey that I am so grateful to share on this platform. But anyways, enough yapping, and we'll see you in the next one.